Hello and welcome to Biorusage Lessons. Today we'll finish talking about digestion. We are going to be talking about some other structures and functioning of the digestive system. Let's start with the mouth. No, it's where the food enters. We have teeth, and the idea of teeth is to make mechanical breakdown of food into small food particles. And the idea is that those small food particles, they are going to have a bigger surface area to volume ratio, because as you saw before, the smaller something is, bigger the surface area it has compared to its volume. So having a big surface area to volume ratio means that there will be more area for enzymes to be acting. So the smaller you chew your food, more the enzymes are going to be able to break them on due time for the absorption to happen. Okay, when you chew and you mix the food and the piece of food with saliva, you are going to make the bolus. It's the name that we give for the beginning of this mass that goes down your mouth when we have all the digestive system going into action. And of course, at this place, we have salivary amylase working, as you saw in classes before. Okay, how the food goes down actually goes through the digestive duct. It's through a mechanism called peristalsis, or peristaltic movement. In the peristalsis, we are going to have muscles around this tube that are going to be moving the food along the digestive duct. It squeezes and make the food to go further, squeezes more and make the food to go further and further and further. So this is the idea here. If you have a contraction in this part, the food moves a little bit over there, the bolus moves a little bit. And then you squeeze over here, the bolus move more. You squeeze over here, the bolus move more over there. And as you can see in this diagram here, we have muscles in the digestive duct. For example, here's the esophagus. So we have transversal muscles that are now making kind of rings around the esophagus to make the food go down. And also longitudinal muscles, they are going to be doing the contraction to make things to go further. So the contraction release is what makes the food to move through the digestive tract. That's why you can eat even if you're upside down, and you can eat even if you are in space, no, in microgravity. You can still eat because your muscles are going to be doing the job to push the food ahead. Okay. Once the food gets into the stomach, which is a muscle bag with three different directions of muscle layers, you are going to be having the food being moved by contractions of the stomach to be mixed and mixed and mixed, but the stomach itself is going to be doing part of the digestion as well. It usually has something around 1 liter, although it can stretch a little bit and it can become bigger in people that usually stretch it a lot. Okay, the muscles are going to be moving it around, as we just said, and the stomach has foldings. These foldings increase surface area. The surface area being bigger in this case here is not for absorption, but to have more area, to have cells that are glands that are going to be producing chemicals necessary for digestion in the stomach. So there will be some pits, in the foldings, that they are going to be producing and releasing enzymes like pepsin and releasing hydrochloric acids. So they have these enzymes that are going to be let go. And it also are going to have the cells that produces mucus that protect the stomach against it digesting itself. The stomach digests proteins, and the stomach is made of proteins. So if it didn't have this mucus, it would digest itself. If you take a look on the stomach, it's something like this. You have 3 layers of muscle and some blood vessels like we have here, and many folds. And in the pits of these foldings over here, you have cells that are going to be releasing mucus, hydrochloric acid, and pepsin for the digestion to happen. Okay, so this is the idea of the stomach. The stomach also has over here a ring of muscle that keeps the food in there and goes releasing it bit by bit. So the stomach is also a place to contain food and release it for it to be slowly digested furthermore in the small intestine and to be absorbed into the small intestine. Okay, so when the food gets to the small intestine, duodeno, jejunum, or ileum, it will look like this. It still has layers of muscle to do the peristalsis. It will have many blood vessels because it's going to be very irrigated with blood because the food that's absorbed goes into the blood, but it will have many foldings. So these big foldings over here, they are responsible for increasing surface area of the small intestine. If this here was flat, the area would be much smaller. But if you take a closer look into the intestine, so we have those foldings that I just showed over here, these are foldings, but if you get a closer look, we are going to see here that each of these foldings contain many fingers. So it's something like this here, that's like a finger, and this finger is called villus. It's one villus or many villi. The villus is a folding, a further folding of the surface of the small intestine, and it has characteristics that help it to perform its function. One thing, it has an epithelium here that's one cell thick. That means that food has to only cross one layer of cell in order to reach the capillaries of the lacteal to be able to give its nutrients, its contents, to the blood or to the lymphatic vessels that's in there. We have here, the lacteal is this yellowish stuff that you have there in the back. Let me change the color here, put a more neutral color. I use this gray. So this stuff here in the back is a lacteal, which is a blind end tube. So the tube starts in here, so it's not a circulation, and it goes down, and the idea of this lacteal is to drain lipids mainly that are absorbed in the small intestine into lymphatic vessels that later are going to be throwing this into the blood. Surrounding this lacteal, you have capillary network over here. This is a capillary network. It's very thin blood vessels that give oxygen to the cells of the intestine. They also need oxygen, but mainly they get nutrients that are soluble in water into the blood. So the nutrients, you have to pass here one cell of the epithelium and then one cell of the capillary, and poof, voila, it's in the blood. It's ready to go everywhere in your body. Okay. In the bottom here, before the capillary, you have an arteriole. After the capillary, you have a venule. So it's an artery that takes blood into the capillary. There's a vein that receives blood after the capillary. More on that after we study the transport system. But the main idea is this. And one more thing. The epithelium cells that are over here, if you take a very close look on that, they also have foldings in the surface of its membrane. So it's microvilli, or one here has one microvillus. They are folded to increase even further the surface area of the intestine. Counting on microvilli, on the villus itself, and in the big foldings that the intestine has, one human intestine has a gigantic surface area. It's something around half a tennis court. It's a very big area that's inside of you in order to be able to perform its function of absorbing food. Okay, this here is a more clean view of this villus. You have the epithelium, one cell thick. You have the lymph vessel or lacteal that's going to be absorbing the lipids, and you have the blood capillary network just under that. This is the structure of this villus. Okay, you might be asked to draw a villus, so it can take a while if you go drawing like this, cell by cell, or no, there are different ways for you to draw this, but you might need to be able to draw. And the trick here is draw a one layer of epithelium. Under the epithelium you have lacteal, and surrounding the lacteal you have the capillary network. And it's good to make an increment on the epithelium cell to show the microvillus. So labeling stuff over there, because diagrams, they have labels. So epithelium is one cell thick for maximum and quicker absorption. And then you have there a capillary network, so full of blood, close to the lumen, the light of the intestine to be able to absorb the nutrients. Underneath you have the lacteal, so it absorbs the lipids. And you have a venule that receives blood from the capillary. You have an artery that gives blood to the capillary. You have a lymph vessel that receives the stuff that came from the lacteal. And you have a microvillus in the surface of the epithelium cell. This is how you draw a villus. Okay, so here it's going to be in black and white. You're not going to have the opportunity on drawing that in black and white in an exam, because exams usually you have to do things in this in color, and you are not going to be able to do it in color. You have to do it in black and white, but it's the same thing. The name over there is okay, so you have this idea. The villus fold as they increase gigantically the surface area, as we mentioned before. The villus are finger-like projections that are increasing this surface area of the small intestine drastically. They have one cell-thick epithelium. We already mentioned that when we were doing the drawing, so they can absorb the material much quicker, because it has to only pass through two membranes to be able to get to the transport system over there, capillaries lacteal. They have a lacteal to be able to absorb lipids and drain it into the lymph vessels. And you have a capillary network that is just underneath the epithelium to be able to get this stuff. And, of course, if you have a capillary network, you have arteries and you have venues that are going to be connecting to this capillary, as we are going to see in the transport class. So this is the idea, and remembering that if you enlarge one epithelial cell, you're going to show many microvilli on the surface. And here you have triglycerides being absorbed into the lacteal and a glucose being absorbed into the capillary. This is the structure of the small intestine, which function is to finish the digestion of food with pancreatic juice and also enteric juice, the enzymes that are produced by the small intestine itself, and to absorb most of the nutrients that we absorb during digestion. Exception for the absorption in the small intestine goes for water, that a big portion of water is absorbed in the large intestine together with some hydrosoluble chemicals like some minerals and some hydrosoluble vitamins. They can go through the large intestine as well. And they are going to have their own absorbing structure, something similar to this villus here. We are going to have that into the large intestine as well. Just putting things here together. Proteins are digested into amino acids. They are absorbed into the epithelial cell that takes it to capillaries and goes to the blood. The same for carbohydrates. They are broken into monosaccharides that are absorbed and then they go to the capillaries. And lipids, first they are isolated with biosalts, then the enzymes are capable to break it, and you're going to have then the absorption that takes it to the lymphatic capillary or lacteal, as you know that name. There is this video here. First take a look to see the digestive system working, and you have a little quiz here that I hope you're going to enjoy and be able to answer everything, because now you know everything, and we are going to see ourselves in class where we can talk further about this. Remember to ask me the lymphatic drainage that some people do to try to improve the body shape and form and stuff in aesthetic clinics. Remind me to talk to you about that. Okay? See you in class. Bye bye.